Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Friday, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, made it through another week. I hope you're having a great week. I know you're looking forward to the weekend. It's always a great time for you, and congratulations, you deserve a couple days off for those of you still working. I'm actually making this video earlier. It's Tuesday, and the reason I'm making it earlier is because I have to go to the dentist tomorrow, and I'm having a little bit of anxiety about that. Had some work done a while ago. Guy did, and the tooth broke, and and I might have to. I'm always nervous about the dentist. You know what I'm talking about. It's never a fun. Some people. I got a friend of mine, Richie. That guy don't even need Novocaine when he goes to the dentist. He's like, yeah, you don't have to do the needle to his. I'm like, are you kidding me? I need Novocaine just to wait in the waiting office. I'm like, look, numb me up. I got such sensitivity, and I'm so nervous. And I'm squirming in the seats, and that's just for the cleaning. I don't know, some people like Richie, like I said, he's got teeth of iron. He's like, yeah, it don't bother me. I'm like, oh, man. But I can take other pain, So what we have going on today, we have a few things. And the reason I'm doing this, like I said earlier, I don't know if I'm going to be all swelled up for Friday or whatever. So Friday, today, is the final day for the Scout Crafty Key Caddy Challenge. If you've gone in and participated, thank you so much. And I'll tell you, I'm so happy that I got a lot of you people to go into the shop and to get creative, because it really, a lot of you had fantastic entries. All of you had said that you enjoyed your time in the shop, that it was a great little challenge, and I'm so glad. That's the whole idea of it. So we'll have the montage on Monday for that, and so thanks for participating. And if you have a photo, send it in by tonight, midnight tonight, to the email address at the end of the video. And also I did Wednesday's video already, and that one, which for you was a couple days ago, that was a lot of fun. I hope a lot of you do make one of those penny stoves. It's a lot of fun, and it was a great time. So what we have going on today is a few things. Joel Jacobson sent in a package. We're going to get to that first, and looking forward to it. So let's get right to it now, and maybe it'll calm some of my anxiety about the trip for tomorrow to the dentist. Okay, this box came from my good buddy Joel Jacobson, and I got this a couple days ago, and it's always funny. I never knew how old Joel was. He mentioned something in the letter today that gave me an approximate age. Joel, for some reason, I always thought that was a young name, like 70s when Joel was popular. I don't know, and I figured he was, my age or something, but I guess he's a little bit older, and so I really appreciate it. But Joel has been a supporter of the show for a long time. Let me show you the cool things he sent. Now, I hope Joel don't mind me sharing this letter, but he's always so organized. That I love that about Joel, that he sends it and he shows exactly what he sent in and gives a little description of each, so I really appreciate that. So I'm going to go by the list and show you exactly what he sent in according to the number. Okay, first thing Joel sent was this universal camera bracket. Now, this is a clamp-on. You can clamp this onto anything, and then this swivels, and then you could tilt and pan. And so this really comes in handy, because all your cameras, it has the standard, that's a 1/4x20 was the standard mount for cameras. And so this will come in handy. Especially if I get that second camera. Now, this is the second item he sent in, and this one here has kind of a special story to it. Now, this is how I figured out about how old Joel is. This is, he says it was a neighbor's egg beater drill that he used as an early teenager back in the late 40s, okay? So he was a teenager back in the late 40s, so it just goes to show you, Joel's up there. And so this one, I think we're going to do a little cleanup on this today, because this has a lot of sentimental value. His late daughter, the neighbor's late daughter, gave this to Joel as like a memento, so I really appreciate that. So we're not going to, change it, but I'd like to clean it up and get it back to working, and we'll talk about that later. Next, he sent in a bag of wooden wheels that he said he used to use for the Toys for Tots program. Now, the Toys for Tots program was I was involved in that program. It was a Marine Corps program where we used to collect toys for children that didn't have any, and around Christmas time and things like that, and we used to take donations. And so there were organizations that would actually make toys, and that was always a lot of fun too. And look at these wheels. I love these type of wheels. Much nicer than a lot of the wheels that you can get the mass produced. Like I have a bunch of these wheels, but you know, they're just round wheels, different type of wheel. I like the this type of wheel because it has much more detail. It has the treads, it has, you know, the sidewalls, it has a little rim. I just think that's so nice. So maybe we'll do a project with this real soon. I love these type of wheels, and I love, you know, making wooden cars. Next, he sent an aluminum faced hammer from England. Now, this, you could see here, it says Thorex, okay? Now, it's a soft faced hammer, and I love these hammers. Now, you know, I do have a Thor, and these are not cheap hammers, especially here in the States. When we buy them here, you know, overseas, they're very expensive. But I bought this years ago, and it's a copper face with a, this is a rawhide side. It's, again, a soft face hammer. It looks like to be the same, and this is a Thor, so maybe they dropped the X, you know, over the years. I don't know. This may be an early one. I don't know how that works, but absolutely one of my favorite hammers. I love the feel of this hammer, and this is the same exact one, only it has the aluminum faces, which is nice, and just a great hammer. If you ever come across a Thor hammer this size, let me get this. Okay, the size of this hammer is, it's 9 inches long. It has a 1-inch head, and it's about 2 inches the casting on top. So if you come across this, or this size, I'll translate that down here in metric. But this is the hammer to have. It's just such a great. You have to have one in your collection. You won't regret it. This is just a beautiful little tapping hammer. Like I always like the short handle hammers, you know, and this is it. Great hammer. Next up, Joel sent a pair of library shears, and you can see here the model number is 1710. These are made by Klaus, a USA company out of Fremont, and this is a beautiful pair of scissors I didn't even know existed. The library shears. First of all, they look almost like the way that you hold them, they look almost like a barber shears, but look how long they are, right? And I guess library, if they are a library shear, would be for cutting paper and things like that. And let's try it out here. I have wow, look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Huh? Sharp, beautiful scissors. Great for cutting like coupons or pages out of articles out of paper or books, or just beautiful. Love it. Next up, Joel sent this absolutely beautiful Starrett number 230 micrometer, and this is a 0 to 1. That means it's 0 to 1 inches is what it measures. It measures it in thousandths of an inch. Okay, so they break an inch into 1,000 sections, and this will measure it. This has the tension adjustment here that when you listen, you hear that clicking. That's so you don't over tension it, till you get a proper measurement. And here you could see how that 0 lines up, the line lines up, so you know that it's should be in check. And what we're going to do is we're going to check it on this card here, just to show you how this works. We're going to wind this out a little bit. We're going to slip the card in here. We're going to measure the thickness of this card, and how to do that is you put the card in between here, you turn this until it clicks, which we have, and then you read it. And if you read it here, you could see there, that's 10 thousandths of an inch is what this card thickness is. Now, to check it, we're going to use a dial caliper. Now, that micrometer is much more accurate than the dial caliper, but this is a way to check actually your dial calipers. You check it first with the micrometer, and then you check it. And the reason they call this a dial caliper because it has a dial on here. If it didn't have this, it would just be a caliper. So let's check the thickness here using the dial caliper, and you could see, okay, we're right at 10 thousandths of an inch. So this is accurate, and this, of course, is always accurate. Beautiful. And it even comes with a little wrench that he sent, that if you see it's not coming to 0, like if it's closed and it's reading that way, you can adjust it so that you get it to adjust. So absolutely beautiful and perfect condition.
Love this. Okay, next up, some of you old timers will remember this. This is an old-fashioned DYMO labeler, and these were really popular back in the 70s. I remember they had a whole bunch of different models. This one I've never seen before, this type. It's a very compact model. It opens up here to insert the tape roll, and you feed it through. The self-feeder on this is a little bit sticky, but it has a nice window here that you can pull it up, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a self-adhesive label with one of these old-fashioned machines. So first of all, here we would just rotate this dial until you get the letter under the little diamond there, and then just squeeze it. And when you squeeze it, you'll see that it actually made an imprint on the tape as we feed it through. Now, once you had your label printed that you were happy with, you would pull it out a little bit, and there was a self-cutter here. You would just pull this out like this. It would cut the label off, and there you were. How cool is that? That's real old school, isn't it? I love these things. Next up, we have this beautiful, unassuming, but yet still a very beautiful and quite expensive Tiffany & Company. You know, Tiffany & Company, they were the big silver makers here, and they were, I think, based out of New York here. And this is and you can see on the back here, it says, let me see if I can focus. There we go. It says Tiffany & Company silver plate. And this is a silver plated ruler. And I don't know really the difference too much between silver plate and sterling silver. I do know that it's quite heavy, so it's not like an aluminum. And it's also non-magnetic. So very interesting, beautiful ruler. 12-inch scale. That'll go up with my drafting stuff upstairs. I'm not letting that get scratched up down Next up, he sent a beautiful nesting screwdriver. We all love these, right? Anybody that's into crafts and especially machinist work, you know, and if you have never seen these before, what it is, it's a nesting screwdriver. So inside of a larger screwdriver, you have a medium screwdriver. Inside the medium screwdriver, you have a smaller screwdriver here. And so that's 2, okay? And then inside the small screwdriver, you have a very small screwdriver, all in beautiful shape. And it's just, the knurling on all of them is really nice. This is obviously, they did make reproductions of these, like Chinese knockoffs and stuff. And you could tell this is an older American style because it's very well made, very heavy, and just beautifully done, you know. Always love these. This is just something, even as a kid, used to play with these all the time. Next up, look at this beautiful chisel. I mean, you could tell quality when you look at this, okay? As soon as you look at this chisel, this thing screams of quality. Look at the finish on the wood here. Look at how the chisel was just formed. You know it's over 100 years old easily. And when we look here, we can see some writing over here. You can see that? You see that? It says P.S. and, that's an E, there's the and, W. So that's Peck, Stowe, and Wilcox Company. And they were an old company that made real quality chisels, and their stuff sells for a lot of money. But you can tell always a good steel, right? You could see it, you know, when you start to burnish it or you're working with it, it gets that nice look to it, and just a nice gouged chisel. Okay, next up on the list is the Wenger. Okay, now that's the thing. A lot of people pronounce it different. Wenger, but it's not Wenger. So it's a Swiss Army knife. Now, there were 2 companies that usually are known for making Swiss Army knives. One is Wenger and the other one is Victorinox. We're not going to get into that discussion right now because it can get heated. However, this one here was, it looks like was a Loctite giveaway. Permatex Loctite, we all know, is a fantastic screw adhesive. But, you know, the fit and finish on these knives always amazes me to this day, you know. And this one here is a simple Swiss Army knife. But, you know, as tool people, when we look at the finish, here's the name here, you can see here. And just the steels that they use, and there's nothing haphazard, nothing thrown together. This has the can opener that I love. I love this style can opener. Having used it many times, I can open a can as quick as you can with a dial. This is a bottle opener and screwdriver. It had the regular knife I showed you, and it has a smaller knife here with a little, like a nail file here, and abrasive file. On the other side, we have a awl, and this is a sharp awl. You can see here, and sometimes they had a hole in it that you could use for sewing. And then, of course, we have the corkscrew, which I have to tell you, I've never used a corkscrew from a Swiss Army knife ever for opening a cork. But I think over there it's a mandatory thing. The Swiss, the French, they love the wine. And so you can see it's just a nice little model, a great model to put into your pocket. It would come in handy, but the fit and finish is always amazing on these. But nice little giveaway they had at Permatex. Next up, a vintage laser pointer. Remember when back in the 80s, these were like the big thing, they were putting lasers and all kinds of stuff, and people were shiny. You'd be sitting there talking to your buddy, and next thing you got a laser dot on your forehead, and your buddy's taking cover without telling you what it is. But this one here, it came with the button cell batteries, and this was a typical something you would find, like I said, in the 80s. They were real big with them. And then, obviously, a couple jerks was shining them at the airliners, and they kind of banned a lot of them. You don't see too many of them around. But this is one of the early ones. It's nice in the original packaging because it don't look that old now, but it will be soon. Okay, last up, this is what's known as a brass swivel snap. Okay, they used a lot in the maritime industries and things like that. They were used on flag poles, all different types. And what it is, it's a basically a spring-released snap, where they call a snap. It's kind of like a latch or a catch, and it has a swivel on it. You can use this for so many things. But I remember as a kid, we were buying these at the hardware store because when I turned about 15 years old, the big thing was we all wanted to wear our keys on our, the belt holder on your jeans or something. So everybody was getting these when I was in school, and you would string your keys on here. And I still do it today, to this day. But mine, I use a silver one, but brass was the bomb back then. And I remember that you would have to maintain these two ways, because this is obviously patina would set in, but we would, every once in a while you'd polish them up or whatever. And the other thing is you'd have to put a drop of oil in that little slot there to make it, because you see here, it's kind of tough, right? But when you spray that with a little oil, it's really simple. And the same thing with the swivel. And it was just fun to maintain it. One day it would look like this. And the next day it would look like this. And what a difference, right? I mean, they're the stages of patina, When it was new, it looked like this. And then after a year, it would look like that. And then after 2 years, it would look like that. And then after 5 years, it would look like that. But I always liked the look of it when it was... And it performed so much better. Remember what I was talking about before? See how smooth it is now with that drop of 3-1 oil in there and everything all cleaned up. It's just brass is always nice about that. It's one thing a lot of good memories with that. Hey,
man, I can't believe that was 18 minutes already. Real quick, Scout Crafter Key Challenge, the Caddy Challenge. If you have an entry, send it into the email address following this, and by midnight tonight. Also, check out YouTube, hit Scout Crafter and Key in the search box, and you'll see all these great videos that everybody produced in accordance to the challenge. It was really a lot of really good ones. And special thanks to Joel Jacobson for sending all that great stuff in, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Take care now. Bye-bye.